I don't care what some fans say, Triple H taking over the WWE was one of the best things to happen to them in almost 20 years, and they are in the best period they've been in a very long time. Welcome everybody to the announce table. I am your host, Mike DeSanto, Cinco Squad's resident wrestling fan, and I'm here to talk some professional wrestling with you, and I want to start with this. I am tired of seeing WWE and AEW fans going to war on social media over which company is better and which one doesn't suck, because guess what? They each have things that are good and they each have things that are bad. And here, I'll let you in on a little secret. You can like both. You don't have to pick one or the other. God help us if we had social media during the Monday Night Wars, because bad things would have happened. This is ridiculous, the amount of scrutiny that both companies are getting, where if they don't do one thing that a fan likes or doesn't like, the whole world's on fire and they should close as a company and they're terrible. Triple H is a terrible booker. Tony Khan's a terrible booker. Things like that. I'm just sick of seeing it, because it's supposed to be a fan base. Wrestling fans are supposed to just enjoy pro wrestling. We're supposed to just be able to discuss pro wrestling and the things we like and don't like. I don't think that you need to like everything that every company does, because we wouldn't be fans if not. I mean, sports fans themselves don't like everything their team does all the time, everything the league does all the time. But the fact that we hate each other because one likes one company over the other is absolutely ridiculous. Am I a bigger WWE fan than AEW fan right now? Absolutely. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I enjoy WWE far more right now than AEW. A couple of years ago, I enjoyed AEW more than WWE. It's just how these things work. But I'm not blind to the potential that AEW has right now. And I'm not blind to everything that WWE does that I disagree with. And there are a few things that I disagree with. Some booking decisions, namely not using Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre as well as they should be. But I don't expect them to be perfect. And I don't go against fans that point these things out, because you're not incorrect. But to say that because of these small mistakes that they make, these things that they do that we might not disagree with, that they're a terrible company and Triple H shouldn't be booker and all that, that's ridiculous. AEW has a lot of potential. I like a lot of the talent they have. I like a lot of the things that they're trying to do. It's just I don't think they're being executed correctly. And frankly, I don't think Tony's a bad booker in the sense of that his heart's not in booking correctly. I think Tony is suffering from a lack of experience. And that's the actual issue, and that's why I think Tony Khan should not be the booker of AEW, because he grew up a fan, and that's great, but he didn't grow up in the wrestling business. He didn't grow up understanding kind of the psychology of it and how things need to work long-term and short-term, and I think they're suffering for it. I think he's a great owner to have because his heart's in the right place. He's a fan, but I think he should make someone that is more experienced in being a wrestler, being around wrestling, and growing up being around wrestling, learning from people, to be his booker. And he's got people there that can do it. He's had people there that have since left that can do it. Think of Nigel McGuinness, Arn Anderson. I'd even be interested in seeing like a guy like Bubba Ray Dudley, who I know has been around both companies. I would be interested in hearing him do it, because if you listen to the Busted Open show, it's a great show. And I'm a big fan of it and what he brings to the table. So maybe think about bringing him in. Tommy Dreamer, guys like that. But I'm just tired of hearing fans complain all the time about one company or the other. Just watch both companies, or don't. But don't get all over people that watch the other company, because it's stupid. You're making wrestling fans look bad. You're making the term mark a real thing. So just stop it. Enjoy what you enjoy. Don't criticize people for what they enjoy, and bring positivity back to the wrestling community. One of the big pieces of news recently has been the call-ups of Stephanie Vaquer to Raw and Jordynne Grace to SmackDown. Now, I personally think it's a little rushed. I don't think you needed to bring either of them up, and especially I don't think you needed to take the title off of Vaquer so quickly, even though congratulations to JC Jane on finally winning the NXT Women's title. You deserve it. You've been around so long, and you've done great work. I think you deserve the title. But I think calling those two up is a little quick. I think your women's division in both brands is good enough that you don't necessarily need to rush this star power, and both of them have star power. You don't need to rush the star power to the main roster so quickly. I think they would both benefit from being a little more seasoned in the WWE style and cameras and kind of how they operate down in NXT. Let them build an NXT legacy and then call them up to the main roster when they're a little more ready and they're a little more seasoned in how WWE operates, because I think both of them are going to be stars. I think they'll still be stars on the main roster, don't get me wrong. I think they'll be booked properly. I think Triple H has a plan for them. I think the producers have a plan for them. It's just, it may take a little more time for the main roster stardom to come about, as opposed to if you had waited a little longer. Even the end of the year, I think, would have been better. Bring them in the Royal Rumble and then bring them up a la you kind of did with Roxanne Perez. Also, you should have done with Cora Jade because she was there long enough. I know the injuries hurt her, but you should have done that instead of release her. That's beside the point. Stephanie Vaquer, Jordynne Grace, they're going to be stars on the main roster. I expect multiple women's championships on both brands for both of them, but a little rushed. Finally, what I wanted to do was kind of discuss this new stable. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman. They don't have a name yet. We thought it was going to be High Rise. High Rise ended up being Wes Lee's new NXT stable, which, awesome. I like the name for them. I didn't necessarily like the name for the Rollins stable because Rollins' mentor, Triple H, we've had that history. Terra Rising was Triple H's thing, so that's why the connection was kind of made, I think. But I think they've got to get a name soon, because it's great to have these guys in a stable, but wrestling fans, we love our names for stables, and we need a name that fits. So I had some ideas on what their stable name could be. First one, Revolution. Yeah, we're going to lean into that a little bit, and the fact that Triple H and Seth Rollins have this connection with mentorship and past storylines and things like that. You've got your Seth Rollins, which is Triple H. You got Braun Breaker, which is the breakout young star, Randy Orton. You've got Bronson Reed, the seasoned but kind of still seemingly raw in the WWE sense, physical freak, Batista. And you've got your wily veteran that's been around the block a few times and knows what he's doing and is the master strategist, Paul Heyman, Ric Flair. It's all there. It's a little obvious, I know, and you're not going to call them Evolution. Please don't call them Evolution 2.0 or anything derivative like that, but derivative enough of Revolution where they want to create a revolution in WWE and, bring about their own plan and the future, I think is great. I think that would be a fitting name. Another one, The Vision. Of course, Seth Rollins, the visionary. It works because this is supposed to be Seth Rollins' vision, or Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman's vision, depending on how you want to portray this team. That Seth sees himself, and Heyman sees Seth Rollins as the current best wrestler in the world. Braun Breaker, the future best wrestler in the world. Bronson Reed, the guy that is, like I said, a physical freak, so strong, yet so agile, and doesn't get the respect he deserves, is that raw talent that can be molded into a beast or into an animal, Batista. So I think The Vision would be a kind of great name for them as far as what their plan seems to be and what the idea behind why this stable is together is. The other one I thought of, it's kind of a little off, but it depends on what Seth Rollins you want to be leading this stable. I was thinking The Flock, because if you want to lean back into a little bit of Monday Night Messiah, back into a little bit of what Seth Rollins, used to be, kind of as the way the visionary kind of jump-started as far as, Monday Night Rollins and the Monday Night Messiah, all that kind of thing. If you want to go back into that, Seth has the outfits for it, obviously. They can be his flock, the people he's leading into a better future, things like that. This is a jumping off point, this stable, for a lot of things. It's the next evolution, for lack of a better term, of Seth Rollins' character. It's something new for Paul Heyman to do, and it's a jumping off point for Bronson Reed and especially Braun Breaker. I think this is a star keeper for Rollins, a star maker for Breaker, and I think Maker for Breaker. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. I think that's what this stable is really meant to do. It's really meant to jump Braun Breaker into the main event scene when I think Seth ends up winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Breaker then turns on him. He'll turn face. Everybody be ready for this genetic freak, super athlete, the future of the business, and he'll take the title off of Seth. I think that'll be probably by the end of the year. I don't know if Seth wins. I think Seth probably wins it at SummerSlam and then carries it to like maybe the Royal Rumble. Maybe they'll push this a little further. They seem to tend to want to keep stables together for longer than a year. This feels like one that can end after a year, depending on how you book it. But I think any of those names would be good. I just hope they pick a good one, even if they don't pick any of the three of those. Although, if you're listening, please pick one of the three of them. But if you don't, at least pick a good name that fits the people in the stable and the stable's goal itself, which I think a guy like Triple H, Hunter, I think with Shawn probably, kind of kibitzing, like he's kind of adding his 2 cents, producers adding their 2 cents. I think they've got a good creative team to be able to come up with a name like that, especially since Triple H has been a part of many stables that had good names that fit who they were and what they were trying to achieve. But I would love to see them get a name in the next couple weeks. A lot of interesting things going on in the world of pro wrestling right now. I'm excited for where WWE and even AEW are at. I think AEW is back on the rise. I think they've got, like I said, a lot of potential. And I think fans need to just let these companies be what they're going to be and let things play out before we criticize everything. But thank you for joining me here at the announce table. Got a lot more wrestling content coming up. I'm excited for what's moving forward. And check out the main show on Cinco Squad. We just dropped episode 163 a few days ago. We got a lot of things going on right now, a lot of important things coming up, big events and things like that. So stay tuned for what we've got coming over the summer. Check us out on all our socials at Cinco Squad Pod 05 on all socials. Interact with us. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the main show. Let me know what you want me to talk about on here, on the announce table. Let me know if you want to join the announce table. I'm always happy to bring in a broadcast partner. This has been Mike DeSanto for the announce table, and I'll see you next time.